Well, guess what? We're back again. Yes, we are back. Playing Toolkit conversations with all these great crew of people, or crew of people, I should say, from around the world. And just want to welcome everybody to the April version of the Paint Talk conversations. And their theme is going to be part two of what we did last month. Really, part
Mhm.
one was last month about success, building on success, and we had such a positive reaction to that. We thought we'd do a part two. But without further ado, I don't want to just go around really. So everybody, can you introduce yourself? Where you're from, what you do, and etc. etc. Like just keep it nice and short and brief. So we'll start. You was on there with us first, Virginia. So I'll let you be the first to describe yourself.
Well, thank Pete, and pleasure to be here tonight with everyone. So I'm Virginia McIntyre, and I'm joining from Canada, from Nova Scotia on the East Coast. And I'm the lead of an organization, People in Pain Network, that supports people living with pain through peer support and knowledge building, self-management tools. I'm also in Canada a pain advocate and align myself with many organizations that are about increasing awareness around pain.
Thanks, Virginia. And Katie,
Hello, I'm Katie. I'm quite new on the scene. I am an illustrator by trade and I live quite near Pete in the UK.
there you go.
Very nice.
Mary,
I'm Mary. I'm from Adelaide in South Australia, and I have a very similar background to Virginia in the fact that I also lead the Adelaide Pain Support Network, which is um, a group of people who come together and have meetings and teach people self-management and all those tools that they need to help manage their pain. I'm also on several committees to do with pain management and several other things that I won't go into right now.
okay. And last but not least, my partner in crime, self-management brother.
Oh, I think they get a little tired of our voice, but for anybody who hasn't met us yet, I'm Keith Meldrum. I'm also from Canada. I'm on the west coast from Virginia, not right on the ocean. I'm about 450 kilometers from the Pacific. I'm in British Columbia, and yeah, do numerous things in the pain advocacy world and research. And yeah, looking forward to another conversation. And I think it'll be great with a little bit of a smaller group here, right? You can get into a lot more
Yeah,
conversation about success, building on success, and positivity. Because as we were talking just before we got going here, there are times this gets a little daunting, and it's really good to bring ourselves together because there's amazing work happening all around the world, and to kind of lift each other up and support ourselves in the work that we do because it's not easy work, but it is important work.
yeah. I think if it was easy work, we wouldn't be sitting here talking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we
No.
wouldn't have to be doing it. So,
Yeah. I think I was thinking about it this afternoon actually about this topic for tonight, and I think it's important that when we're building on our successes, what does it actually do for us? Like, and I think for me, it builds confidence to thinking when you're doing something successful, you're thinking, oh, well, this is great, let's perhaps we could try something else, like,
mhm,
So for me, it's about confidence building as well. But I think for us, Keith, I think the conference last month was another uh, Bain Supported Self-Management Conference, and also the actual week before that
mhm,
was a massive success. Like, it seems to. We were talking about it last Sunday actually when our little chats, like, and
mhm,
I said to her, do you think it was better than last year's? And you said, I know I have to agree with you. They're not all of them that we've done. They've never really been better than any of them.
mhm,
Just like they're just different speakers, and
mhm,
but the messages, the powerful messages, and etc. Like, but I think for getting the messages out there, was fantastic. I was impressed with. Pain Supported Self-Management Week, where
Hmm.
people were doing stuff. I think, Katie, you were doing stuff, weren't you?
There's some
Hmm.
illustrations for you, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, knocking them out every week. They were
yeah,
great. They get such attention. They're amazing.
yeah, it's good stuff.
Hmm.
And I think you did some stuff as well, didn't you, Virginia and Mary?
I did locally with
Hmm.
our groups and
Yeah.
telling people about it and
Yeah,
always encourage about supportive self-management. And I must say, Katie, I
yeah,
seen your illustrations. They were amazing. I think we need to
Right.
do an infographic or something
yeah,
and put them all together on one thing.
Oh, right. That's a
And
great
then I was
idea.
thinking I was going to reach out to you and say, oh, we should do something
Mm.
like that. It would be so beautiful to have something, especially with for Mary and I, having our support groups here.
yeah,
They were so well done.
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you.
Agree.
So success building success really, and
Mhm.
uh, and that's what I've been well since I come off the program. Like 30 years this year would be I was on the pain management program, 30 years in July, and just sometimes I look back and see the journey I've been on. It's been a bit of a wild journey, but it has been, as I was saying earlier on, when you get doing something a little bit successful, you don't really realize if it is going to be successful. That it gives you more confidence to try out new stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm not. I've never been a techie dude. I'm not an academic sort of person, but I'm having a go, and so I'm always looking for ways on how we can get the word out there because that's the niche, I think, really, because there's some of these poor devils out there living with persistent pain. There's no need for it. It's just I think I saw someone posted something yesterday about the code. There's some sort of drug. There's a limit. I don't know what is a shortage of it. One of the opioid drugs, I think. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity. Yeah, well, we won't be able to give you this drug, but what about trying out this stuff, and yeah, yeah, it sort
Mhm.
of goes over their head, doesn't it? Sort of goes on on their little wish list. But anyway, what you guys been up to this last month? Anyway, what success story wise?
I've done my first podcast.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Yes.
see that.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Congratulations. How'd that go? Please tell us about it. Yeah.
Do you know what? He's a really great guy to do your first
Oh.
podcast with. He's a really good physiotherapist and he's had his own experience of things. So yeah,
Mhm.
what a nice person to do your first podcast with. So yeah,
Great.
it was tricky because I was nervous, but do you know what? I've done it. So one down.
Can you just share a little bit? I mean, don't want to give it away because I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. Can you just share a little bit about what you and George talked about, just a little bit, or?
So his podcast is called Conditions for Recovery or the
Hmm.
Conditions for Recovery podcast. So it is basically how it's a lot to do with self-management and kind of how I came to doing what I do that helps me basically rather than
Right.
and what the healthcare situation was at the beginning and
Hmm.
yeah kind of a bit of a journey and a bit of what do I use to help myself. So yeah,
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's great because I mean you've shared with me and others your experience, and it is really a powerful one, Katie, and it really demonstrates what, as an individual can do. And to have other people be able to hear that, I truly believe it gives other people like some guidance and hope that, if they're kind of stuck somewhere, they're like, well, here was Katie who was in a really tough spot, like literally not moving, and look where she is now. So that is a great opportunity to share that experience. Thank you.
yeah, so that was
Mhm.
that was my month. And also I'm doing some work for someone that you kindly passed my name on to, so
Right,
to illustrate a academic paper, so that's good.
right.
And
Yes.
yes, I'm still trying to put my feelers out to get some more work. So yes,
Well, this is the way it starts. You get it out there a little bit, and
yeah,
specifically on that work that you're doing with Stillwell and Connix and the rest of the team. Virginia and Mary, again, just great illustrations that Katie's done. Everybody, the whole team loved them. So you've got a real talent that you can use to really get in this space. I think it's really cool.
hopefully.
Yeah, well, it's a start. That's the way it is. It always starts with one step and then the doors open. So let's
This is
hope for
definitely
more.
the area I want to work in. I totally want to. That's why I've been focusing on it. So yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully.
excellent. Yeah. All right.
I think from you guys, you Keith and Virginia, the success story for me is these podcasts you've been um, putting out there, but action on pain,
Yeah.
hmm
um,
hmm
brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think the messages are positive. They're useful for everyone, both people living with pain and also healthcare professionals. You know, and
Yeah.
and I think that what I like about the being podcasts is that you can listen to them while you're on the move,
hmm
and also for people perhaps who have visual impairment and stuff like that, like you know. So I mean, did that originate?
Do you wanna tell a story, Virginia?
Sure.
hmm
Sure. Yeah, and what a great story.
hmm
2 years ago, 2 years ago this May,
Yep. Yep.
Jennifer Delucier invited Keith and I to coffee, and we were working together on a committee launching the PWLE committee within the Canadian Pain Society. So we had launched that together, and so we had started working together a little bit. And she said, "How about going for coffee? I have an idea put by us." And we're like, "Well, yeah, any excuse to get to coffee." We were all there. Where were we at? We were in Ottawa. Is that correct,
We
Keith?
were yeah, we were in Ottawa.
In
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we met, and Jennifer said, what about we do a podcast, bringing to life about Health Canada's and Action on Pain plan, and we're kind of like, and I think Keith and I kind of have the same response
I
because this was not what we were thinking, you
yeah,
know.
we just kind of looked at each other like, huh?
And as yeah, and as we
Yeah.
kind of looked, and we kind of like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. And
Yeah.
and what's really cool about it is this podcast is not led by anybody in the background telling us what to do.
hmm
We rolled it out, we worked as a team, and we did the business plan for it, and we did everything, and we decide, the name on it, who's going to be there at the table, who are going to be our guests. There's
hmm
no healthcare provider or researchers or academic behind us saying, have
Oh,
this one, have that one. It's
Yeah.
us. So it's a podcast uh, that are conversations with people with lived experience and led by people, the whole thing by people with lived experience. So I think it really shows you get together with a great group and
hmm
what you can do. And it was really a big team effort.
And continues to be. Yeah. So we appreciate you calling that out and noticing it, Pete. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's important work, we think. And we've been very fortunate because, like Virginia said, we have people who live with pain, we have researchers, academics, healthcare providers. And whenever we make overtures to somebody, say, hey, would you like to come on the podcast? We barely get the request out and they say yes. So we just
Mm.
amazing support out there. And as you say, if you've had a chance to listen to it, the conversations are amazing. And I know, I think I can speak for Virginia and Jen that after we have our conversation, we always go away learning so much more. So,
mhm.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Mm.
And can I give you a shout out as well, Mary? With I know when we were speaking, oh God, I know there's a few, might have been last time. Or so. I know we've been chatting about it, but where you're actually doing some teaching in hospitals now, and you or something?
yes,
Oh yes, we
yeah.
had our first session since I last spoke with you people, and it went well. I think it went really well. I think how can I put it? I think that the psychologists and the physiotherapists I work with didn't think it went as well as I did. I thought it went well because I had the feedback that I had was what I would have wanted. The question was, what was the one thing that you learned that surprised you today? And some of the answers were the importance of language. I brought up language a lot. We're using scary, frightening language.
Mm.
Peer support groups, during which, of course, I talked about supported self-management, guidelines for exercise, validation, chronic pain, cognition, how prevalent it is. phrases not to say, all those things. I would hope that would be what I would have wished would have got across. And there was more, obviously. They didn't all fill in. The one of them set up a thing called a Mentimeter. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was absolutely brilliant for getting feedback and questions. Not that we got many questions. And there was two boys sitting there, obviously playing a computer game on their computers. You know, in every group I've ever been working in, and that's physiotherapy I did for 3 years, and now medical students, there's always two boys that will be up the back doing something other than listening. So all the other feedback came back positive. It was, you know, like they had to put a little dot in the Mentimeter, whether it was, you know, good value or really, really good value, or, you know, well, the two orange dots of the we know exactly who put those there, don't we? The two. I think if that happens again, I'm going to get a little bit more proactive. And when I finish my presentation, I think I might take a little wander up the back. I know that the lecturer that I used to work with in the physiotherapy students used to put a stool back up there and sit there. And that sort of used to sort of promote a little bit of interaction. The one thing I did notice, and a doctor told me later on, that medical students don't necessarily interact with allied health people all that well. And I thought, well, there we have another problem with medical education, because they obviously see them, work alongside them, you know, and obviously case discuss, but don't really work as a team. And so that's what we need. We need teams of people so that we've got proper pain management with you know, one of everyone that's needed sort of thing, because then that only then can people really benefit properly. So that was interesting. But yeah, I think it went well. I'll know more after I do the second one in another week or so. So yeah.
Yeah.
And to confirm, that was this time you were speaking to medical school students.
Fifth year.
Fifth year, yeah.
This is undergraduate, a 6-year undergraduate course.
Okay, yeah. So it's good. I mean, it's getting in front of the medical doctors, because that, and speaking for Canada, and that's a project that's underway right now, is trying to get pain education, and specifically chronic pain education, not acute, but chronic, into the medical school programs. Because as we know, there's nothing. It's a really hard wall to get behind. But there are organizations and government that's working on that. And it happens kind of ad hoc in Canada. So it's good that you're doing that.
Yeah, we know people have been trying all over the world, especially to get not just to get medical pain education into medical students, let alone having an actual patient partner go in there and do it. So you know, it's and to have a lot. You know, I had the health professionals with me, because even if I could have answered the clinical questions, I shouldn't. That's not right. So I made sure I had them, and I deliberately didn't have a medical doctor, because I was sure that the conversation would go straight to medications and stay there, because that's all they would have been taught. I actually asked them halfway through the discussion time, have you had any education at all on your way through? Bear in mind, they're nearly finished in chronic pain. And these heads all just went like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this is 2026, not 1906. You know?
Yeah. I mean, but that's a great positive. I mean, it's one step in the bigger path to get there. But they recognize the value of not only having that education, but having it delivered by you, which is really important.
Actually, I had a quick email conversation about something entirely different with Blair the other day, and he said to me, "Keep doing it and tell everyone you know that you're doing." The more people that know about it, the more likely someone else might take it up. You know.
Yeah, that's great.
And don't you find often, like I know with Pippin, we're beyond connections and support self-management, we also speak. And so our facilitators are going to Dalhousie University. This will be your third year going in and speaking to the graduating physio class and sharing our stories. We're revamping how we do things, but it depends on the instructor. whether you're
Yes.
invited
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
room. And
Hmm.
that makes a difference because not all universities are doing this. And I think it's important to have this done with the OTs, the physios, the medical students,
Hmm.
but it has to be
Yeah.
buy-in on the instructors
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
professors. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
important. So important.
yeah.
Mhm.
So there's an area,
I've got the
Katie, you can
support of
get
a
into.
Well, do you know what? I've
yeah.
just written that in my pad. I'm going to do a
There you
doodle about that
see,
one.
there you go. So it's a really important area, and Virginia, just to really support her point, is unfortunately it's individual centric. So if that instructor or that prof is believes in this, then they go looking for people to say, come and talk. And
Yeah.
it's a place to start. You know, it's not a top-down solution, but it's kind of coming in from the side and poking holes in it. But you know, you find that if you do get a chance, Katie, it's really interesting. If you do get a chance, my experience is I've done it numerous times. I lecture twice a year to university students, and like overwhelming, they're like, "Thank you." They're looking
Yeah.
for they sense that what they're taught in school doesn't really is discongruent with what they're seeing in life in their clinical practice. And so when you come and tell your stories and your experiences, they go, "See, that's what I need to hear." So yeah, there's something for
It's not fair,
you.
is it? It's not fair on them because they will. There's no way, no matter what specialty they do or what path they follow, they will come across a lot of chronic pain patients. And it's not fair on them if they're not taught how to manage it.
Yeah. And that's a
I'm
very good way
I'm
to look
quite
at it.
shocked by this conversation, I must say, because I didn't even realize that you're not taught anything about it. So I'm
Yeah. So as
Oh,
another example,
they might have about 2 or 3 hours, half a day or something.
yeah, and they get very, very basic, but it's just a quick sort of snapshot. There's in BC, in British Columbia here in Canada, they're doing some work to get behind the walls of the medical schools. And they're starting to make some progress. But there's a
Mm.
young woman who's amazing. Her name is Tori Etheridge. She works for a provincial organization. And she was presenting in December to a group of 60 family physicians. And she's kind of started it off and saying to 60 family physicians, okay, so, you know, what is chronic pain? And she said 60 doctors couldn't answer that question.
Gosh.
So
yeah.
there's a need and a gap that needs to be filled. So,
Yeah,
I think there's lots of gaps, aren't there?
yeah.
that's why we set up the Pain Toolkit Academy.
Right.
I mean, else
Yeah.
it was just to fill a chasm, really.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a chasm; it's more like a valley. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
just I don't know how many hours they get now each year. Um, I know someone quoted me years ago. Not well, so I don't know if it might be just a few years ago, but I think in their 6 years of training, they get if they like get 23 hours or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty
It's,
minimal.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much about acute pain, really. So about meds
Hmm.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that's why it's really good to hear. You know, Mary, you're getting invited. Virginia, you're talking about through Pippin.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
getting into like you know, because they can't make it happen right now. Individuals are making it happen, and that's the spark to light the fire eventually that will take
yeah.
off. I
Mm. Yeah.
I think what can put them off a bit is that they got to talk to people, listen to people, like and they're
Mm.
finding this is what I've been I was told before. It's they don't want to do it because it opens up well, I call it a can of worms, like and
uh, yeah, I mean, but if we
say
flip that
you
lens and
say you approach it, but this is
yes,
I've got the skills.
yeah,
I'm approaching it. That's why they're so scared because I've got I've only got a certain amount of time,
hmm,
blah blah blah, but it's if they had the training like it's like in the Paint Toolkit Academy, we all the tools and skills are there, like where you haven't
Yeah.
you can do
hmm,
time-based appointments. That was the whole
yeah,
idea of setting up the academy so that they learn how they can start these conversations, support self-management in time-based appointments. So it's not
hmm,
at the end of the day, this ain't rocket science. Like it's all can-do stuff. Like, hey, if we can do it, I'm sure people, with medical background, academic background, someone like a nurse or a healthcare professional, I'm sure they can do it. Like physios, OTs, and and whatnot, like, you know. So, but I think I think, what was it term you used last? I think you said on Sunday about Keith, water and stone, is it, or something like that? What was it?
Well, it's like water dripping on a stone, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's slowly over time it starts to make
yeah,
it puts a divot and I mean, there's lots of things. It's water on a stone. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's why conversations like this are really important and to get out to other people that even though we see lots of challenges, those challenges are really opportunities for
Mm.
success. And it takes some work and some effort, and we keep at it, and we'll get there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that always remember watching Michael Caine, the actor? He was on a talk show here, and he talked about use the difficulty, like, you know,
Mm.
changing things around. He was on a play or something, you know, and his party had to go walk through a door, and the door wouldn't open. That bit wasn't in the play, but the director says, he says, "Oh, sorry, sir, I can't get in." He said, "Well, yes, but use the difficulty. In other words, you know, think, you know, problem solve it, sort of thing, like, you know,
Yeah.
use the
Yeah.
difficulties, get round it, like, you know."
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I think everybody likes to live in their little pigeonholes and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think there's tons of successes out there. I mean, look at this conversation. You know, I mean, you know, you know, talk out being able to talk to people from all around the planet. Like, you know, I mean,
Mm.
Hmm.
someone said that to me years ago, and I thought, well, you're in whatever you're smoking, stop.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because this, you know, it was all the Star Trek stuff. You know.
Well, let's just agree for anybody who knows the Jetsons, the cartoon The Jetsons from like the 70s, they nailed it because they had talk-in television when I was a kid. And I'm like, that'll never happen. And here we are. So, and anybody who doesn't know the Jetsons, look it up online. It'll make sense.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
old enough to remember.
Well, if you had said to us 20, I often can see that because of my background, that's a
Yeah.
fine. If you had said, oh, we're going to have these and we'll be able to do everything in our banking and goodness knows what on them and all the rest, we would have
Mhm.
said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Here we are. So goodness knows what the next 20, 30 years will bring.
So there's another positive, right? I mean, technology has allowed things
Yeah.
like this to happen, right? And it creates more opportunities and more access for these things to happen. So you don't necessarily need to be in the same physical location. Even though we all get a little Zoom fatigued, it's still just it's the perfect way to get in front of people and deliver your
Yeah.
Mm.
message. So yeah. So,
But there's other platforms out there, like virtual reality. You know, I put some together a platform. I dip into it from time to time, but I always amaze people in the platform where I posted pain toolkit information and whatnot. I see them as you know, just people, and I sort of sneak up behind them and listen, you know, and they're just talking, what's going on here, sort of thing. What do you think
yeah.
it means?
Hmm.
So these are all successes, like, you know. I don't think
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Well,
we shout out a lot about it. I was involved in a meeting this week on something. I won't say what it is, or but and I said we was organising something, an event, and I've never been to one of these this sort of event organisation before. Like, you know, so I was really taking a back seat, just sitting and watching and what stuff. And I said, listen, man, we just got to get out. You know, they talk about the patient experience and stuff. Hey, listen, not about, don't, if we're going to, yeah, do that, but don't hear about the war stories, like, you know, the problems with pain and da da da. What about the successes, like, you know?
mhm.
I think we get a bit obsessed with, you know, the media's like that, and success stories don't sell newspapers. But a bit of
Mm.
drama and stuff like that, war stories, they sort of tend to zoom in on that.
Mhm.
I tend not to do them anymore. Like, you know, I say, well, I really just want to just briefly touch on what I do, but what about, you know, the success story behind my story, like, you know?
Mhm.
I think that's why we got to push it a bit more, there are good things. We are doing fantastic stuff out there, the amount of courses now that are available for uh, healthcare professionals to sort of get skilled up. Like as I say, the Academy's one. I know in Australia you've got three running at the moment. You've got Lorimer's one, Mike Nicholas, he's running one, Peter O'Sullivan's got running like a educational
Mm.
source. All you guys over there in Canada, all the lovely stuff you're doing over there. I dare say there's some stuff going on here in the UK.
Hmm.
I know Lorimer's over here I think in the summer doing some
Mm.
tour with
Yeah.
Ray Butler, So it's all going on out there, where the people could get learn some extra skills, sort of thing. Yeah, on next Wednesday night, I'm down at we were Katie knows we're at Chelmsford. I was going to a little talk, the patient,
Hmm.
uh, the warm up act,
Hmm.
and give me 5 minutes. But that's okay. But I'm there for any questions. But yeah, they've got 80 mixture of 80 healthcare professionals coming along. I think there might be a few patients, but I think it's mainly healthcare professionals that come in from all over the county. So I mean, that's all. That's another success story from this organisation. Like they go around doing short talks and stuff like that.
Mm.
Hmm.
So it's all going on out there. Sometimes we need to focus on it, all this good stuff going on, like, and support it, like. Um,
Hmm. I just, I want to touch a little bit more on the work, Virginia, that you and Mary do, because I think peer support is
yeah.
is one of the pillars of
Mm.
helping people. Actually, it's probably the main pillar, and then there's a few others that go around to support it. So, and there's so much good that's happening, and it would, and Jill Belton raised this last month. She said, we see the success of this outside of the healthcare system, right? You guys are running organizations, they're in communities. She said there's no reason why that couldn't be embedded and be part of like the healthcare system. And I think,
Mm.
that's that would be amazing. But until that happens, the work that you guys do is important.
Yeah, and Kate, to build
Mm.
on that, I mean, we do know Health Canada's action plan from pain does mention peer support, and certainly under the goals, we're
Yes.
recognizing the importance of it. And our
Hmm.
step care model 2.0 also mentions it. I'm thrilled to share that Pippin has launched their first group with Newfoundland. And this came from
Mm.
the director of pain strategy in Newfoundland, recognizing the value of peer support and reaching out and saying, we
Hmm.
want to get peer support over there. You have a national organization at the setup and recognizing that. And so we were able to launch our first group with them last month. But it's not many provinces that you see the person who's the head of the pain strategy in the province read
Hmm.
out saying, we need peer support here. So
Right.
they're doing kind of prescribing when people come in. And when they come in and they're triaged, they're given, okay, what are your next steps? And on
Hmm.
this path is peer support. We want you to
Right.
go and recognizing it. And I think it's the fact is for healthcare providers realize peer support is not just about chatting around the table. It's definitely about connections because people living with pain are often deal with isolation, but it's about
Hmm.
Mm.
knowledge. It's also
Hmm.
in my network, and I'm pretty sure Mary's is the same. It's about sharing knowledge, evidence based, and with our partners with Pain Canada. I mean, we have a manual of 34 topics and all evidence based knowledge that is
Hmm.
always integrated into our meetings, and it's taken that knowledge, and only us who live with pain know how to take this evidence, and it's all self management stuff, and how put it into play. The
Right.
paperwork
Mm.
can be there and tell you, but it's, we know
Yeah.
we know what to do. So I think we're getting more and more recognized for it in Canada, but we got a long ways to go. A long ways to go because it certainly is not the first thing they go to.
Yeah.
Maybe Newfoundland's been a little bit different with their
Hmm.
strategy, but it's often the last.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a huge success. That's awesome. Way to go, Julie, there in Newfoundland, right?
I know she's been
Yeah.
amazing. This has been
Yeah.
her thing, we're going to do this. We want it here. How can we support you? And yeah, she's been amazing. We're lucky.
Great. Yeah.
Mm.
It's,
Yeah,
this peer support. Sorry, I was just going to say this peer support stuff. I know it's been around as far as I mean. I think some of you know another organisation I belong to. I mean,
Mhm.
that started up in the mid-30s, 1930s,
hmm
and
Yeah.
it ain't. It works.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
All
it
it works.
does.
It's just
Yeah.
people sharing about their story, their
Mm.
experience, their hope.
There's
Mhm.
nothing
And
like that in my area at all.
Right. Yeah.
The
Wasn't
thing is, you
offered
have to
it.
have
Didn't have it. Yeah, sorry.
go. No, you finish.
No, I was just going to say there's literally nothing in our area at all, and it wasn't offered, and
Mm.
I didn't even know it
Mm.
existed, to be honest.
hmm
And Pete,
Yeah.
and just to add on to what you said, I mean, Pippin's been around since 2011. Now I took over in 2017, started taking over. But the pain toolkit, the self-management pain toolkit, that's been the backbone of Pippin right from the get-go. And it's
Right.
been, it's about self-management. So that's been a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary, what were you going to offer?
I think the reason that people are I get a lot of support, but a lot of people don't turn up. And we've been trying to analyse this. And I came up with a bit of an epiphany during the week. I think some people, I don't know whether you have this issue, Virginia, but we do. We have people who sign up. They're so wildly enthusiastic. This has been more since COVID. And I think that there was a lot of bad groups that started up online during COVID, and people got very put off by them. And I know that because we've got a man in one of our groups online who was floundering and had been in 3 of these groups and said they were the most negative experiences he'd ever had. That was supposedly peer support. But of course, there was no structure, no nothing. And he is so good with people that he's now a facilitator. And he's got complex regional pain syndrome and he's doing very well. It's difficult, it's up and down, but he's managing. I think there's that, but I also think that a lot of people hesitate to join any sort of group meeting because they think their pain will get on top of them and they won't be able to last. I always say to people, if they're online, you can be lying in bed. We don't mind. It doesn't bother us.
Mhm.
We understand. We get it.
hmm hmm
But they sort of get worried. And as far as face-to-face goes, they think, oh, I won't be able to get there. But we have to get there no matter what we feel like. And we always feel better after we've paid.
hmm
So obviously there's benefit in that's peer support. That's what it does.
hmm
Because you can sit there and look like a bit of a wreck and no one cares because everybody knows why you look like a bit of a wreck. You're having a bad day or you've had no sleep or whatever. But you just get on with it. And I think once people have experienced that, then they'll come back and they'll come back. And we've got people that have been with us for years. So obviously they're benefiting with something. And I bumped into a man in the passage one day, early last year, I think. And he hadn't been for about 4 years. And he said, oh, I was having a bit of a downturn. I thought I'd better pop back.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
He stayed for 2 or 3 meetings and then, off he's gone again. So
hmm
I've left his name on the books in case he turns up again.
hmm
Mary, we did a scoping review on what are the barriers to peer support, and I think there are, and what the clinicians' attitudes are. And a lot of it we find out, and there's not a lot of research out there, man, this is very limited, was that they believe in it. But what their fear is this, what you said, the structure of the group. We don't want to set people back if it's not well done.
That's right.
What you and I did.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the other thing was the facilitators training. Our facilitators within Pippin have extensive training. And
Yes,
if you're
so
not
do ours.
trained
Yeah.
and managing your pain well, you can't facilitate and run a well-balanced group. So these
No,
are
that's
things
right.
we need to get that out about our groups.
Yeah, ours are trained too. And I'm about to start a bit more of a campaign. We've got a lot of support here, but it doesn't necessarily result. As I said, this seems to have been I can't say post-COVID. I don't like that word because COVID's still out there, very thick on the ground, clogging up hospitals and goodness knows what. But the times when we couldn't meet face to face and all that, we lost about 2 or 3 groups. We're about to start up another one, we think. So we'll be back to 2 face to face and 1 online. So we're really sort of starting to make a bit more progress. But fingers crossed.
I just wanted to know, Katie, and you started to answer the question that I was going to ask you. So I'm just going to ask my question anyway.
Yeah.
Understanding what peer support is. So if I go back in my time, 40 years, none of that was available and offered to me as well. And having said that, if it was offered to me, I'm pretty sure I would have said no because I was in a really bad headspace, but that's a me thing. But understanding what peer support is and just what, Virginia and Mary have talked about, if that had been available to you, or if you knew it was out there, do you think your journey would have been any different than it was?
I'm sure it would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were times
okay.
where I felt really isolated, so I would have loved to have, I'd love to have probably connected with someone that kind of understood it a little bit better. But
yeah. Sorry, carry on.
yeah, no, I was just going to say I was open to trying anything, so I would definitely have been open to going to that. Having said that, as you say, it needs to be a structured group because I would not want to go and just sit with people moaning about their pain.
Right. Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and I know
Absolutely.
that
Yes.
I know that's not what it is,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
also probably what puts people off sometimes from going to
It
these
does.
things.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would say. That would be the thing that I would probably not want to go to it because I'm not that way inclined. And yeah, I kind of want to get something out of it rather than just a place to share. But
But there was something you said that I think just underscores the importance of it was that sense of isolation and
yeah,
what it gives. And you want to talk about a positive is when you can bring people together and that aloneness, that isolation, that feeling being lost, it literally can change people's lives.
yeah.
Like, what bigger success is that than connecting people so that they can find a new way forward?
And I think everyone needs connection, don't they? Like, yeah, that's such an important part of the journey.
Yeah, we as societies, we don't live all individuals in caves up in the hills. We do sort of integrate ourselves. So I think connection is somewhat important to the human psyche. It's necessary. Yeah.
Remembering
Yeah.
what Mary said about peer support and people being frightened of what they look like, etc. And it sort of just brought back a really positive memory. When I first started getting into VR, virtual reality, I was doing some work with Teesside University, and I compared to what even what the VR platform I'm using now is pretty low tech, I guess. But this one was super low tech, but it was all avatars. And I asked one of the ladies who come on I was trying to do like a workshop on pacing, really, just about pacing. And I said to her, "What do you really like about?" I asked the group, "What do you like about?" And this lady said, "I like being an avatar because it's non-judgmental." When you won't know this, but I've been doing a whole workshop laying down in bed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you hear things like that, you think to yourself, I think we get so pigeonholed, like, with stuff. Well, you got to look like this and do that and whatnot. So, and so for me, so for that person there, they like being an avatar as being there, but they do a lot of this in. I know I'm going off the pace there a bit. But usually go to a VR conference every year. It's normally run in Netherlands, but I didn't go last year. It was in Italy, and I think the next one's in Ireland this year. I'm not there if I go to that one, but the technology, how to use it for positivity, like getting people moving and stuff like that. So there's all different stuff we can tap into, like to connect with each other, like and I think the face to face is always the preferred choice, but but it's like looking now, like you two guys in Canada, Australia, Katie,
Mhm.
Katie, you're the other side of the county. But the thing is, using technology
Mhm.
to
Mm,
to bring people together, like which we are doing,
Mhm.
and like the conference, Keith, isn't it? I mean, all the
Mhm.
fantastic speakers we had from different parts of the world, and I'm guessing, I don't know who are those that registered, where they come from, who registered, but they all got, they're all connecting with other people from around the planet. I mean, it was
Mhm.
such you know, years ago we were, massive, but we're very, so close now, like, we're so interconnected. But
mm,
I think
Mhm.
it's going back to what Virginia says, it's about it's running these courses, but it's the facilitators that they had, they're geared up for it as well, like, because I think I remember when, well, Mary, this when because we've been sort of been trained on the Stanford model, is about
mm,
the tutors. Excuse me. We get quite a good lot of training, don't we, Mary? And
mm. Oh, yeah. Mm,
the it's about setting the tone and being not being judgmental and stuff like that, because
Mhm.
it's if I think for a lot of people that going to a group, it could be the first time they've been to a group since they was at school. And if they've had a bad experience while they was at school, uh,
mm,
they ain't gonna. And if they get a bad experience, they ain't gonna come back.
Mhm.
So it's important, and that's the thing as well. That's the thing, as we get bigger, as the all our little organisations get bigger, that it's important that we can't do all of it all the time. But I think it's important that those who we're handing the baton on to, have our skills, knowledge, experience, etc. So
mm,
they because they're the ones all carrying the baton on, like. But
mm,
but we got people, I always say my job is when people go away from. It's funny, I said to these dudes who have invited me along on Wednesday, well, what are we going to talk about? I said, I don't know, but I just said, but my job really is just when people leave that room that night, is they go away thinking, I can do this, you
mm,
know. So it's because that's why it goes about, we're just passing information around. We can't. Oh, I'm not going to give you this information. You might see it's a bit people get hooked up with all the palaver, or like empire building. You can't. We've got to keep moving the information around. And as we move the information around, we get new information coming in. It's like
mm,
stagnant water. It becomes stagnant because it just stays still. But we got to keep moving around, like our bodies. Got to keep moving, baby. Oh yeah.
mm,
And there is, that's probably foundational to what this conversation is about. Success begets success. So, everything
mm,
that we do as individuals or organizations, you pass on to somebody else. Might be 100 people in the room, but if you get 10 of them that pick it up and they carry it on, and before you know it, becomes a movement now. So that's why it's important to focus in on the work that everybody's doing. Because around the world, I mean, you've all said it, like amazing work is being done. When we stop and take a moment, we're like, there's a lot being done. And, Katie, I know you're just sort of getting started into this, but the work that you're doing will resonate with somebody and they'll take what they learned from you and they will pass it on to somebody. And it just
mm,
keeps spiraling. So it does happen. It just happens on a little bit slower pace than some of us would hope.
Definitely snail
Yeah.
pace.
Yeah. I mean, change it. I often say, because I say lots of stuff, it's the change is glacial, but even glacial change is change. And look at the powers that the glaciers had when they retreated. Look what they left behind. They
um,
defined the world that we live in, mountains and valleys. So it might be slow, but she's pretty powerful.
Not as slow as those, I hope.
No, but the analogy stands, right? Like, took a long time for
Yeah.
it to go, but look at the world it left behind. So they
Mm.
left it pretty good.
Jo Belton, she was with us last month, but she left an email to myself and Keith tonight. And she said, "Sorry, I can't be with you tonight." But she said one success I brought up is the membership of GAPA
Hmm
has grown up
hmm hmm
900
Over
people now,
900, yeah.
including 350 people with a living experience. And it shows how many people want to integrate lived and living knowledge, experience, and expertise in pain research, education, and treatment. I mean, do you just briefly, uh, anybody want to talk about GAPA on how, if there are people who are interested?
You
Or
want to give them the rundown, Mary? You're there from the start?
I can't really give it a rundown at the moment. It's just getting itself back together, isn't it,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, but what's the
Um,
organization? Who is it? Why are
we've
we
got
there?
well, it's the global, oh gosh, I knew that, that's what you want me to do it. So
No,
I have to
Global
say,
Alliance of Partners.
Global
Go ahead, you got it. You got it.
Alliance of Partners in Pain Advocacy. Right.
Yes.
First, you have to start with the International Association for the Study of Pain, Global Alliance of Partners in Pain Advocacy. It's a real mouthful.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's been going since 2019 now, when we all met
Mhm.
that's where Keith and I met in Amsterdam. And we had some good work going in the way of when COVID hit right after that, a global, we had what was it called? Virtual series where we had some events on. Then we had our own conference, and then things changed for various reasons, and we were more or less in abeyance for about 3 years. And now we're just starting to really get organised again. But what I want to see happen is I want to see some educational events, some things come out that everyone, those 900 people can see, and others, but particularly the 300 people who are living with pain that have joined, because that's why they would have joined. That's what they'll be looking for. They won't be looking for strategic management and heavy research and fundraising and that sort of thing, which we have to do. They'll be looking for events, and I think we need to get stuck into that as fast as we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
But
ran a conference, I think we spoke at it years ago. Was that by
We did the
IFP?
virtual series, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was you, me, and Jenny, and Joe. Joe chaired it. It was fun
Yeah.
days, wasn't it?
That's a while back.
What's nice to see, and like you said, Mary, it had to go in advance for a while, and some housekeeping needed to be done. But I mean, 900 people, and there's clinicians, researchers, and academics. It's showing that there's an interest in this Partners for Pain Advocacy. Partners for Pain Advocacy. Can't stress that enough, because it is a partnership, and we're seeing the researchers and the clinicians who are saying that's important. I might not fully understand it yet, but that's important, and I want to get involved. So that is a huge success. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, well, we're coming to the end of our time. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for taking part in this conference. As there's a few people, still working, etc. I think we're taking a break next month, and Keith, we're going to be back again in May.
Yeah, we're gonna get them. April's a pretty busy month. Lots going on.
Bit bonkers, yeah. It's getting our spring, and a buddy of mine, Dave, is getting me coming back in motorcycle tomorrow. So we want to have a bit of FUN. I think I think we need to remember as well. We've got to look after ourselves, So
first and foremost, nothing more important. Look after yourself first.
Yeah. So anyway, thank everybody tonight for being logging on and sharing experiences in hope, etc. And we'll see each other again in April.
In May. In May.
May.
In May.
That's right. Being an older person and being this time of night, I'm God night. Get out. Okay, so anyway, thanks everyone. Take care. Look after yourself.
All right. Thanks everyone.
Ciao.
Great
Bye.
seeing you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.